This video is going to suck to edit. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be pretty long because I have quite a few topics I want to cover. But before I get started, I just wanted to add a little disclaimer in this that I can only speak for the McDonald's that I worked at, my personal experiences, and the other experiences of the people I have also talked to. So again, this isn't every McDonald's. I can only speak for mine and my experience. So with that being said, there's going to be 4 parts to this video. The first is things McDonald's employees don't want you to know from my end. The second is going to be what McDonald's employees don't want you to know from a coworker I worked at with McDonald's. She actually ended up staying afterwards and she ended up switching locations. I'm not going to give any names or who it is, so I got some input from her new location. 3 is going to be why I quit. I'm going to kind of tell my story of things that I dealt with and why I ended up leaving. Of course, I left because it's McDonald's and I got a better job, but I just wanted to kind of go into further detail about how people were treated there and how I was treated. 4 is going to be some McDonald's life hacks that some of you may know, some of you might know, but I'm going to go over a couple of them. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, so we're starting with my side of what McDonald's employees don't want you to know. Number 1 is everything is timed. Taking orders is timed, bagging the food is timed, and getting the orders to the customers is also timed. I don't know the purpose for it 100%, but I think it has something to do with the managers. Like the managers need the numbers or something for the count for corporate or the franchise or something like that, so everything is timed. So we try to get things out to you as fast as we can, and we try to beat our numbers. Like we keep track of all of our numbers and we have to try to beat it the next month. Number 2, I want to give you an example for this one, because I'm sure a lot of you have had to deal with this if you're in any type of customer service, retail, food, anything like that. When a customer pays with cash and right after you already tendered their payment, they go, "Oh, I have the change, is it too late?" That happens a lot at McDonald's, and the thing about that is that it's almost nearly impossible to enter that change after the payment is already tendered, because the managers get very upset because timing goes down and it takes way more time, and it can also mess up the drawer. Number 3, we're going to cover a little topic on fries. So the way our fry section is set up is there's this little machine called the hopper that loads the fries into the basket that you put in the oil, and then right next to it is kind of like the fry rack or the dryer where you dump the made fries in, so it kind of drains the oil from it, and that's where you put the salt and everything in, and there's 2 different sections for it so you can split it up. Well, when people order no fries, that little section where we put the fries is not cleaned, so there's going to be salt in it, so you're gonna have salt on your fries anyways, because they don't clean that every time someone asks for no salt on their fries. Number 4, I guess freshness would be the topic. I don't know, but everything is either frozen, pre-packaged, or dehydrated. 5, let me give you another example for this one. Say a customer orders something and they ended up changing their order, but the order already went through and the grill team and the crew members already started preparing that order. Say like they ordered a frappuccino and then they wanted to change it to a smoothie. Well, once that frappuccino is made, it just sits there. So most of the time at my location, if a crew member wanted that extra frappuccino that was made, then they could have it, but they had to take it to the break room and they could run back and forth and take sips from it. And that's kind of the same thing with burgers. It didn't happen too much with like the burgers or anything like that, because if you're not paying attention to the food coming out from the grill, you don't know what has been there for how long or anything like that. But if something says, hey, or if someone says, hey, that there's an extra spicy chicken or something, you could be like, hey, I want it. And sometimes, about 90% of the time, they will let you have it. And again, you'll just have to take it to the back room. Number 6. This one absolutely disgusts me. And again, for this is one of those topics where the disclaimer comes in, where this was definitely one of my issues at my location. I don't know if it's like that for anywhere else, but the ketchup pump. I really hated seeing customers use the ketchup pump because whenever I would go over there would be gnats surrounding it and on top of it, and I thought it was just the most disgusting thing ever because that part of it wasn't cleaned that often, so the sweetness of the ketchup attracted the gnats. Okay, number 7 is kind of like their break time. Every day that an employee works, they do get one free meal, 100% free. I think it's a medium meal, if I remember correctly. It's completely free, but whenever they eat or go on break or anything like that, they have to go to the back of the break room. They are not allowed to sit in the lobby or talk to any customers or anything like that. They have to go in the break room. Number 8. This one is also really disgusting. I don't even know how to, do I give an example for this one? Basically, your cups aren't always safe, if that makes sense. At my location, there were multiple times where cups were dropped on the floor or used for something else, and then my manager would look at me and just tell me to rinse it out with water and then put it back in the cup dispenser to give to a customer. And it's not like we would use soap or anything like that to clean it out. It was just straight rinse out with water. Even if it was dropped on the floor, we used cups a lot of times to fill our ice, or like our ice bins for like drive-through drinks and the frappuccino and smoothies and all of that. We would just put it back in the dispenser. Number 10. This is something that I see a lot of people complaining about and having an opinion on, is the extra sauces. So I get that. I understand that one sauce for 10 pieces of nuggets isn't anything. You would use it on like 3 nuggets and you'd be out. I understand that. That wasn't on us. That was something that like higher up McDonald's decided to do. But I want people to kind of understand a little bit with the extra sauces. Sometimes we will throw some in there and our manager will be like, yeah, that's fine, that's cool, or we will do it kind of slyly behind their back because we know that one sauce isn't going to cover 10 nuggets. But if our manager sees us or is in a really bad mood, we can get written up or in serious trouble. That is why we're not being stingy with the sauces or anything like that. We can literally get in so much trouble, and we are not about to lose our job over your one packet of sauce. I don't have enough fingers for this one, so number 11 is the topic of the ice cream machine. Everyone's favorite topic and favorite complaint or opinion or question is the ice cream machine. And I'm going to be totally honest about this. I have talked to about 5 people that I know that have worked at McDonald's or that worked with me if their location had the same thing happen as mine did with the ice cream machine. 9 times out of 10, the ice cream machine is not broken. It's not broken. I know that some locations when they close, they just say it's broken, but they have to clean it and they just don't want to re-clean it when someone orders a milkshake or an ice cream, but mine was 24 hours, but we never cleaned it before we closed since we were 24 hours. So on that note, most of the time, about 90% of the time, it is because the creamer that makes the ice cream and the milkshakes is empty and people are just too lazy to replace it. So they will just say that it's broken, but it's not, I promise you. I think I was there for about 8 or 7 months and it broke maximum twice. And I was constantly telling people that it was broken when it wasn't, just because people didn't want to refill the creamer. The very last one is 12, and we are covering breaks. At my location and my friend's location that I was talking with about it, a lot of times we would not go with a break. You would go hours without one, or they would deny you a break. And even a lot of times when I worked 8 hours, 8.5 hours, I wouldn't even get a 30-minute. I would get 2 10-minute breaks, and they would still push that off. I know quite a few times, I think I had about 45 minutes left of my shift, and I worked 8 hours, 7.5 hours, something like that, and they just kept pushing my break off. So they gave me my break 45 minutes before I left. So that was it for my section of what McDonald's employees don't want you to know. Now we are going to hop into one of my former coworkers who ended up transferring, and she became a shift lead or a shift manager. And these are some of the things that happened at her store, which kind of make mine look like a saint. Number 1, She said at her location that if someone asked for fresh fries, they would take some fries that were already made in the rack or the dryer, put it back in the oil so they are hot, like extra hot, and they're still dripping with oil so the customer thinks that they are fresh. Number 2, this one kind of goes for more than just a spicy chicken that I'm about to explain. It kind of goes towards all of the other sandwiches that are made. She gave me an example, like if someone orders a spicy chicken burger and they say no mayo, but the grill team puts mayo on it, and then they realize it, they just take the bun and the patty and they just scrape the mayo off and use the same exact stuff. So there's still mayo on there, they just scrape it off. And she gave another example, like if someone doesn't want pickles on their burger or their McDouble or whatever, and they put pickles on it, they'll just lift the bun, take the pickles out, and put it right back on, which I think is really disrespectful and disgusting, because what if someone is allergic to those things? And if the oils, like the juices from a pickle or the leftover mayo is on it, that person could have a reaction if they are allergic. Number 3. This one I have never seen my location do. They might have done it, but I have never seen it. So my friend said that at her location, when they would drop food on the floor or like a bun or anything like that, they would pick it up and still use it for the customer's meal. Number 4, the grill team at her location did not use gloves when cooking. That is absolutely disgusting, because Number 5, she also told me that they didn't clean the grill area. So typically at my location, we clean the grill area every night, and then all the machines we would clean like between 3 to 7 days, just depending on how busy we were or if we had someone available or anything like that, and that is also disgusting. But at least we cleaned the grill every night, and they didn't clean the grill there. Number 6, this one I am sure a lot of places are guilty of, not just McDonald's itself, which is using expired products. I cannot say that at my location I ever caught anyone using expired products. We were typically good with that. We were typically good at rotating our stock so that the older things were in the front so that they would get used first, and then newer was in the back. So like that rotation, but I guess they used expired food items. Number 7. This one, she said that the overnight crew would use the same food that wasn't used from earlier in the day. The way our McDonald's is set up is right where the grill is, there is this like little box that they slide the food into, and it's heated, and you just slide the food into, and the person that's bagging the food will take it out of there, whatever goes to the order, and put it in the back so it still stays warm. Sometimes extra things are made on accident. It's going to happen with fast pace, and they're just kept in the little heating box. People on the overnight crew will use that food that has been sitting there all day. Number 8, utensils that are dropped are still used. I have seen this quite a few times at my location from the grill team, where they accidentally drop it on the floor and they will pick it up and keep flipping patties. Number 9. This one is repulsive and disgusting and can get so many people sick, and the location should have been shut down a long time ago. Okay, this one is cross-contaminating. She said that her location oftentimes cross-contaminates the beef patties, so like the raw food, will put it in the same container as other food that is being used to serve to the customers. 10. This one my location was pretty good at doing, but I guess hers wasn't, unfortunately, which is really disgusting as well. The tea liners for the sweet tea and unsweet tea, she said, were hardly ever cleaned. So then there'd be a bunch of buildup literally everywhere in the tub of tea and sweet tea. Number 11. Her fry rack was never cleaned. So that's where you put the fries in after they are made, and you dump all the salt on it, so all of the salt would build up. And she said that there would be mold in some areas and they would just leave it, and that is, ugh, okay, that's gross. Okay, with all of the secrets out and everything like that, I'm going to hop into the McDonald's life hacks. Like I said, a lot of you might know these, a lot of you might not, but I thought these just might be a little helpful. So the first one is, whenever you ask for a drink, since I believe they're the same price, they're all still $1, all of the cups are also the same size, especially the styrofoam cups that are typically used for sweet tea. You can still ask for the styrofoam cups with a regular soft drink if you're not using the sweet tea. The second is, not at all locations, but at my location. If you're through the drive-thru and you already paid and you're at the pickup window and you decided you want something else, you can still order something else at the pickup window. They will just take your card or your cash and slide it through the register that is in the lobby, and they will get that to you as well. Number 3, I was actually asked about this quite a few times, so I figured I would mention it a little bit. It's the secret menu. There is no actual secret menu, and most locations don't know what a McGangbang is or a McBitchin', even though those are the same thing, but they don't know what that is. But if you order the sandwiches that are in these secret menu sandwiches and you ask them to put the sandwiches together, then they will do that. Number 4, if you get something that you don't like and it just tastes gross, or you've never had it before and you just wanted to try it, about 90% of the time they will replace your meal for free, even if you just don't like it. I'm not sure if all locations are like this, but mine was definitely like it. It does irritate us just a little bit, but we still did it. Number 5, this is about the oatmeal, the breakfast oatmeal. You can literally make this at your house. It's just pre-packaged oatmeal that you can get, like the cinnamon and apple or whatever, just plain. It's really just one of those packets, a little bit of water, a little bit of creamer, and then dried fruit. It will literally taste like the same exact thing as McDonald's oatmeal. Number 6 is a hack that I learned while working there. If you want guaranteed 100% fresh fries and you want salt on them, you can order fries, ask for no salt, and they will have to make another batch. And once they give them to you, you can get a bunch of salt and salt them yourself. This is one I learned and I've always wanted to try, but I keep forgetting. Oh my gosh, this one makes me so excited. It is a type of kind of like do-it-yourself ice cream. You can order a caramel sundae and a shot of espresso, and put the espresso in the ice cream, mix it up, and then you have a caramel coffee ice cream. Number 8, if you order a plain sundae and an apple pie, you can crumble the apple pie into the sundae, mix it up, and that's right, you guessed it, you got an apple pie ice cream. Now we have the very last topic, which is why I left. So obviously I got another job. I actually got a job at Hobby Lobby, but I kind of wanted to give some examples what pushed me to actually being like, no, you know what, I'm done. Because people at McDonald's don't get treated that well at all from neither customers nor management. The number of times I have been called stupid or called dumb girl or any other different name, I cannot count on my hand. I would be so rich if I got $1 for every name I was called, or every time I was called a name. I would be so rich. I was also sexually harassed by customers, especially through the drive-thru. It was mainly through the drive-thru because I was the only one in this little room taking the orders, and it was by a bunch of teenage guys, and they would just hit on me, and it felt like it was the most disgusting feeling, because it's like, I don't understand. Like, I never really made a big deal about it because there was nothing I could do, and I knew McDonald's wouldn't do anything about it because they just don't care. But when I worked in the drive-thru, I would have so many people hitting on me and harassing me, and it just made me feel gross. It made me feel sick because, like, I'm in a McDonald's uniform and I'm working. Come on now, really? Like, another thing is that I realized at my location a lot of people were written up for things they didn't do or had no control over, or that were just plain dumb. Like, my first red flag should have been the first week I was working there. My family and I had a trip planned to the lake, and I think it was like the first day I was working, I let my manager at the time know, and I asked, I was like, hey, this was kind of planned, I forgot to mention it, do you think I can have the day off? She's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then when I come back from that trip, she hands me a form that I have to sign. I got written up for it. And I read on it and it said that I had called in and I failed to show up for work. That should have been my red flag. But since it was my first job, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. So I signed it, not thinking, but whatever. Before I get into this next reason, I wanted to give you kind of like a backstory a little bit. I was a cashier, and when a cashier goes on break, they have to have another cashier fill in. A lot of times they wouldn't open another register, they would just have that cashier jump on yours and use your register to help the customers until you got back. I remember one day that's exactly that happened, and then the next day I came in with a form, another write-up, saying that my drawer was $20 short. Now, I have never been short by that much, maybe a couple cents at most, but I know how to deal with the cash register. The person that was on my drawer had a history of being under quite a few times by a decent amount of money, but they still wanted to blame me. And at that point, I refused to sign the form because I knew it wasn't me. And then they went back and they checked the cameras and then found out it wasn't me. Did I get an apology? No. Since we're still on the topic of being treated poorly, I just want to add this in here. Even though this part was already after the fact, after I already put my 2 weeks in, this was actually the day that I put my 2 weeks in because I had had enough and I got a job at Hobby Lobby and everything was good. I was going to get a better job and all of that. But as I was writing down my resignation form, my manager was like, okay, thank you, and then took it and walked away. And then before I left that day, she pulled me to the side and she was like, so you're really leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. I got another job. And she said that she was going to tell any company that calls me about a job that I was a terrible worker, that the only reason why I quit was because she didn't give me Halloween off, which was false. I did ask for it off, but it wasn't a big deal if I didn't get it off because it was a morning shift and she said no. So I was like, okay, fine. That's totally fine. And I worked that. I had no problem. Like, that was it. But she said that she was going to tell them that that's the reason why I wanted to quit, that I was a terrible worker, that I was really rude, and she was just going to lie to them. There's a lot of prime examples that I could use for how poorly treated not only me, but the rest of my crew members and coworkers were. But we're going to move on from that and we're going to go into hours. Another reason why I quit was because of my hours. When I first started there, I was working quite a lot. I was working almost every day. And then a couple months before I left, they started cutting my hours. And it was to the point where I was only working 2 days a week. And those 2 days were Saturday and Sunday at 5:45 in the morning. And I know it's not that big of a deal, but I was a junior in high school and I woke up earlier for work than I did for school. And that kind of really sucked because I had no downtime to actually sleep in and relax in bed in the mornings on the weekends like you're supposed to do. And I asked them multiple times if they could switch my hours or if they can give me more hours. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll give you more hours. We'll fix all of that. And they just never did. And the last thing of why I quit kind of corresponds with hours and being treated poorly. Obviously at the time, like I said, I was in high school, so I was underage. I believe I was 16. I was 16. So curfew for 16-year-olds for work is 10 p.m. Although I did only work like 2 minutes from my house, I still needed to be off at 10. So on days that I was scheduled until 10 at night, and I was working in the back drive-thru. They did this with a lot of people, not just me. I saw it all the time. But when the time came for me to either count down my drawer or if it's 10 o'clock and I had to go home, we can talk to people on the headset and we would get like, hey, just a reminder, like, I'm off, like, I gotta go home, like, I have to go home. Legally, I have to go home. And they would just ignore you and leave you back there. They would not say anything to you back. No matter how many times you would try reaching them through the headset, they would ignore you. And it was so frustrating because I had my mom texting me, trying to call me, where are you? Like, you're supposed to be off. Why aren't you home? How much longer are you going to be? Like, things like that, because that's the time I'm supposed to be off. That's the time I'm supposed to be home. And they did it a lot with the employees there. They just took advantage of the fact that you were back there and by yourself, and that you knew that you couldn't just be like, all right, well, I'm not taking these people's orders that are here because I'm not just gonna leave them hanging. It was really disrespectful for the people that were working. There were a couple times where I was back there for an hour, hour and a half over the time I was supposed to be off at 10, and that wasn't okay at all. Like, if they wanted me to stay a little bit longer, or if someone was running late, all they needed to do was ask me, and most of the time I would have been like, yeah, sure, that's fine, I don't mind. But do not sit there and ignore me, knowing that I'm off and I'm trying to remind you and I'm trying to figure out what's going on while I'm underage and I'm supposed to be off at 10 legally. Before I sign off the video, I just wanted to add a little side note since we're on the topic. If you are going through drive-thru, and I know a lot of you people are guilty of this, because I have done it to myself. I did it before I started working there, but then I realized what actually goes on. And you go through the drive-thru and you are there for a second or two and no one says anything to you over the intercom. Do not yell, hello, hello, don't do that. Because most of the time something is going on in the back where the orders are being taken. They're talking to a manager or someone at the front. They are talking to an employee. They're taking their change and all of that. They're changing out the register. There are multiple things that can be going on, and it happened to me a lot, and it's kind of hard to sit there and talk to a customer through the window when you have someone yelling in your ear trying to get your attention. It is really, really frustrating. Please do not do that unless you've been sitting there for a long time for a drive-thru. Then you can be like, hello, but don't be rude about it. And last thing, just treat people working in the food and retail with respect. Like, they deal with a lot, obviously. They don't need your attitude, and they don't need to feel like shit. It's not worth it. They are there to help you, and they are willing to help you if you show them the same respect that they're showing you. If they're not showing you respect, then by all means. But I cannot stress enough, please treat them with respect. Okay, that was everything, I believe. If there's anything I think of later, like if I think of enough things, I might make a part 2, but as of right now, I think that covered basically all of it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and if you want to be notified whenever I do post a video, hit the little bell. I do have videos that I posted before this one that are just on private right now because I'm a wimp. And I know a lot of people are going to see this because no one really knows that I have a YouTube channel, but that'll get fixed eventually. I'll stop being a whip eventually, hopefully soon. We'll see, I guess. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.